Today, we're going to go in a different direction and talk about two things that may not feel like productivity tips. But remember, we are used to being in that toxic productivity mindset. We have grown up hearing this rise and grind mentality that says work more, push harder. But let me tell you right now, that is a recipe for burnout. And that's what we're trying to combat here with holistic productivity. Hi, I'm Chris LeBrun, your host of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. As someone who's never been afraid of dreaming big and going for it all, I often find myself with a lot on my plate. I'm a husband and father, a nonprofit fundraiser, and an entrepreneur. What I've realized is my view of productivity was pretty toxic. After decades of believing that in order to do more, you had to work harder, I began to see productivity as this beautiful thing. Holistic productivity is the idea that you can accomplish your professional, personal, and purpose-driven goals in a healthy way, and doing so will make you happier and more fulfilled. Join me each week as we break down myths about productivity, share practical tips for maximizing your time, energy, and focus, and hear from others about their productivity journey. This is the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. My name is Chris LeBrun. I'm your host and a productivity coach. Thank you so much for being here. Good to have you with us for the show today. I hope that you have already subscribed to the show and followed on your favorite podcast platform. We are everywhere. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can probably find the Holistic Productivity Podcast. And just make sure that you subscribe and follow so that you don't miss a single episode. I just wanted to say, if you are enjoying the show and appreciating it and finding value in it, if you could do me the favor of rating it 5 stars. That helps other people find it. That lets them know that this is a show worth listening to. And again, that would be a big help and to me and to them as well. So I appreciate that. We are going to continue with our 6-part series on the fundamentals of holistic productivity. Each episode, we've been looking at a different part of the holistic productivity framework. And I'm just going to recap these very briefly. If you have not been with us, you can go to the show notes and find links to all of these episodes. But here's what we've talked about so far. In episode number 4, we've defined our goals, projects, and tasks. Episode 5, we looked at how to create a goal roadmap so that you can achieve those goals a little bit easier. Then we talked about our Sunday strategy, which will help us plan a winning week. That was episode number 6. And last time, episode 7, we talked about a couple of strategies that you can use every day to just manage your time a little bit better. Those were our T3P, or top 3 priorities, and tracking our detours, or the distractions, the things that keep us from being productive. So again, go back and listen to those if you missed any of them. Today, we're going to go in a different direction and talk about two things that may not feel like productivity tips. But remember, we are used to being in that toxic productivity mindset. We have grown up hearing this rise and grind mentality that says work more, push harder. But let me tell you right now, that is a recipe for burnout. It may work when you're young, but it is definitely not sustainable. And that's what we're trying to combat here with holistic productivity. The two things we're going to talk about today can restore balance to the hustle society that's out there. They're going to be your antidote for burnout. I like to say these are a reset for your mindset. So what are we talking about? Well, the first is self-care. Now, if you are thinking, is Is this a massage or a mani-pedi? Maybe, only if you want to, right? Guys are probably not as interested in the mud masks at the spa. But let me just tell you, I had a mud mask when I was in Jordan at the Dead Sea. I mean, just literally mud right out of the Dead Sea there. And oh my goodness, that was amazing. Okay, so props to the women out there. They may be doing a better job of this idea of self-care, but it doesn't have to be any of those things. If that's the picture that you have in your mind, let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Efficient.app. Big shout out to Alex and Andra from Efficient.app for sponsoring the Holistic Productivity Podcast from the very beginning. We love that. When you are looking for new software, Efficient.app is the place to go. They have already done all the research for you, which saves you the headache of doing a trial of every single app you want to look at. They offer hundreds of product reviews and comparison videos that are informative and fun to watch. Want to hear how Motion stacks up against Monday.com or Asana or ClickUp? They have a review for that. Here's what I love. They promise no BS software reviews. They tell you exactly what they love and what they don't love. And best of all, they have negotiated special deals, discounts, or even extended trial periods for a bunch of different products. If you're going to look for software, do yourself a favor and let Efficient.app do the work for you. Click on the link in the show notes. That's the best way to get there because you'll let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring the Holistic Productivity Podcast as well. Check them out, Efficient.app. Link in the show notes. You won't regret it. Just put that aside unless you want that to be your self-care. So what is it? If it's not necessarily those things, it's anything that brings you joy and excitement and rest, relaxation. For some, it may be watching some TV or movies at the end of the week. Maybe it's going for a walk. There's nothing that restores me more than getting out in nature and going for a hike. I love that. It's spending time with your hobbies, whether that's quilting or working on cars or reading. Again, for me, I love building Lego. That changed a little bit when I started a Lego business because, self-care can't be something that you're required to do. Okay? You can enjoy something, but once it becomes required, it's not really what we're talking about for self-care. Again, if you're working on your car because it's broken and it doesn't run, that's a very different experience than spending time fixing up a 69 Corvette or a 57 Chevy. If you love cooking, but you have to cook every day, that may not bring you the same type of joy that it used to. Likewise, you may love reading, but when your boss assigns you a book, right, it may not be that same level of relaxation. And I say that being the boss who has assigned books for our team to read together. But we live in a culture where people feel guilty for doing the things that they love. And I just want to put a stop to that with this episode. We are not robots. We are humans with emotions and needs and desires. And I want to be very clear when I say this. I'm speaking mostly to moms, but also to some of you dads out there. But it means that it's okay to set time aside when you are not doing something for the family. It's okay to do something just for you. Let me say that again. It is okay. It is good to do something that is just for you. It's not selfish. It's self-care. Because we are better parents and better spouses when we practice self-care. We are better employees. We are better entrepreneurs. We are better people when we take care of ourself. So what is self-care? We've talked about a couple things. Let me talk about a few more here. Self-care is saying no. We say yes to a lot of things because we feel obligated to. And then that creates this scenario where not only do we have to do the thing that we didn't want to do, now we are also frustrated with ourselves for saying yes when we didn't want to. This keeps us from doing other things, usually those things that bring us joy. We're usually doing these things that we don't want to do when we should be taking time for ourselves or for our family. Learning to say no can be one of the most liberating self-care things that we can do, but it takes practice. And I'll probably at some point devote a whole episode in the future just to saying no, because it is that important for us to be able to do at different times in our life. Self-care is also rest and exercise and good nutrition. Look, I used to believe that taking time out to take care of my body or to take care of myself slowed me down. But you know what slows me down even more? Being out of shape, right? This is especially true as we get older. And I am in my 50s now, and I wish that I had done more self-care, more health and exercise in my 30s and early 40s. When we are healthy, we have more mental and physical energy. It's easier to think clearly. We get more accomplished. And this is why our well-being is an investment that pays dividends in our productivity. Self-care is also being with or talking with our friends. Let me ask a question. When was the last time you got together with a close friend? I bet when you did, you probably laughed a lot. Maybe you even cried. You probably felt 5 years younger afterwards, because it is just something that renews our spirit. Look, our schedules are nonstop, and we think that, this means there's no time for friends. But relationships require investing time. And again, that return on investment is so worth it. I don't have research to back this up, but I think that this is another area where women do a better job at getting together with friends than men do. I think it's harder for men to develop close bonds in adulthood. And I don't know that that's always the case, but that's kind of been my experience. I don't know why. I've made friends as an adult, but they're not as close as the guys that I was friends with in high school and college. Those are my best friends. When I think about who I am the closest with, they're guys that I don't see every day because they don't live local. The guys that I went to high school and college with, we get together on a quasi-annual basis for a baseball trip, not every year, but there's several years that we have done this now, going back to 2008. And look, I love traveling with my wife, but this trip just hits different, right? These guys are like brothers to me. And there's just something different and special about a bunch of dudes hanging out with each other at the game. We talk about our families. We talk about how we can be better dads and better men and the challenges that we're facing. But we also have a lot of fun, picking on each other. And one year we had 6 guys all riding in this minivan, showing up at the ball game wearing different team jerseys. It's just been a great thing for me. So why is self-care so important? Well, we've looked at some of the reasons already. It prevents burnout and depression. It generates those moments of joy. It's a reset for your mind, and it restores your creativity. All of these things work together to increase your productivity and make you more productive, to accomplish more. Okay? It's very important. Don't cut yourself short on the self-care. Now let's shift gears and talk about the second secret weapon in holistic productivity, and that is gratitude. Now, this one can be harder to see a direct connection to productivity, but it all comes down to our mindset. And science has shown that gratitude improves our mindset. Now, obviously, when gratitude is expressed to us, that is a good thing, right? We feel happy. We feel appreciated. You know, when your boss comes and says, "Hey, I really love this job that you're doing. Thank you so much for doing it." That is great. But researchers have also found that when we show gratitude, that we are more productive. We have a more positive experience in life. We are able to cope better with stress. It builds resilience. And I'll link in the show notes to this research that talks about all these things, the ways that you can be happier and more productive at work because of gratitude. Both gratitude and negativity can have a ripple effect for everyone around you. And when you show gratitude and express gratitude, it just creates this positive environment that can be contagious to everyone around you. And it's just such a wonderful thing. So, what does it mean to practice gratitude? Well, it starts with awareness. You need to look for things, anything that happens during your day, big or small, that causes you to be grateful. It could be landing a big sale, or it could be that there was no line at Starbucks, right, when you got there and you were able to just get in and get out. But I recommend writing these down so that you can remember everything that you are grateful for. In those moments when it's hard to be grateful, when things aren't going well, you can look at that list and reflect on all of the things that you are grateful for. I have a section in my Holistic Productivity Planner every day for you to record what you're grateful for. At the end of the day, it's just so refreshing to see those moments that were a ray of light shining through the darkness. And so I like prioritizing that and making it a practice that I do every day to just write down those things that you're grateful for. Now, if you don't have the Holistic Productivity Planner, you should get one. But if you don't have a planner that prioritizes gratitude, you can keep your own gratitude journal. If you journal regularly, this may be a prompt that you're already doing. But if not, I encourage you to do it every single day. And if you don't journal, you can just keep a simple notebook, small little notebook that has everything you're grateful for. If you don't want to do a notebook, you don't want something else to carry, or you just like digital, start a note in your phone and track everything there. Again, it's so important to keep that list of things that you are grateful for your own benefit. But gratitude is best when it is shared with others. And I've worked in fundraising for 25 years, and during that time, I've sent out probably thousands, if not tens of thousands, of thank you cards to my donors, to the people that I work with. I'm not talking here about email. I've sent thousands of those as well. I'm talking about physical cards that show up in the mail. Now, I had a colleague who would argue with me that an email was the same thing. But what makes a card different is that it is so uncommon in today's digital world, right? And it is a great way to express that gratitude, to show appreciation. It's also great for building relationships. You want an easy way to stand out from the competition, from other businesses or whatever. Send a thank you card. This was reinforced for me just a couple of weeks ago. I reached out to a tour company that I had worked with in Greece about 8 years ago. And when I reached out and told them that I was interested in working with them again, I got a response within 5 minutes from them saying, can you get on a video call with us in the next 15 minutes? And when I got on the call with them, the owner of this company said, I still have the thank you card that you sent me in my desk. It's been 8 years since I worked with them. Now, this is not the primary reason that you want to share gratitude. It is a side benefit, though. But again, sharing that gratitude with others is so meaningful for both parties. It's meaningful for you to express that gratitude, and obviously, it's meaningful for the people who receive the cards. If this lady still has that card that I sent her 8 years ago and haven't worked with her since. I've also written thousands of thank you cards for coworkers and colleagues as well, because look, you never know what people are going through. And when you share your appreciation with them, it brightens their day as well as yours. And your card may be the thing that they look back on at the end of the day that gives them that reason to smile. More gratitude means less anger and frustration. And I truly believe that if everyone practiced gratitude, we would live in a much better world. So let's recap and look at these 2 secret weapons of holistic productivity. Self-care refreshes and restores us. It gives us more energy and creativity and happiness. And again, this is not just something for women to do. Guys, we need to do better, especially when we're building connections with each other, with the people that can help you relax and refresh and unwind. It is not selfish to practice self-care, and there shouldn't be any stigma that you are just wasting time. You are resetting your mind so that you can go out and be productive. The second one that we talked about today, practicing gratitude, is a great way to reset your mindset. It doesn't make the challenges go away, but it makes them easier to handle. Just keep track of what you're grateful for, either in your productivity planner, in your journal, in a notebook, somewhere. But make sure that you are also sharing gratitude with others, with your coworkers, with your customers, with your family. Let them experience the joy of feeling appreciated as well, and that will bring a smile to their face and bring you joy as well. That's it for the show today. Thank you again so much for being here. Check out the show notes. We've got links for all of the episodes that talk about the fundamentals of holistic productivity, also the research that I talked about there. So check that out, holisticproductivity.com/8 for episode number 8. Make sure that you are subscribed on all your favorite podcast platforms or on YouTube so that you can get the next episode when it drops on Tuesday. We're going to be wrapping up our series next week on the fundamentals of holistic productivity, so don't miss that. Also, if you liked the show and found it valuable, would you rate the show, please? We would love to see 5 stars. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of the social medias. There you can get even more great productivity tips and motivation throughout the week. And thank you so much for listening in. As always, my goal with the show is to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Before I sign off, close your eyes for a minute, unless you're driving. But close your eyes and imagine this. It's Friday. You're excited for the weekend. TGIF, right? You're wrapping up the work week, getting ready to leave the office. But as you're walking out the door, you start to reflect on the week and you say, what did I even accomplish this week? It's a frustrating feeling and a horrible way to start your weekend. You know that you've worked hard all week, but you have little or nothing to show for it. if you've ever had these feelings at the end of your week, I have a special offer for you to help you on your productivity journey. I talk about it all the time. Being intentional with your time is one of the biggest parts of productivity. And one of the best ways you can be intentional is to plan your week. Planning your week provides clarity on your priorities. It eliminates confusion about what needs to be done, and it sets you on a path for success. Now, I've developed the perfect tool to help you plan your week. I call it my Sunday strategy, and I want to give you my Sunday strategy worksheet and guide absolutely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter. The guide offers clear strategies for using the principles of holistic productivity to plan your week. You'll have a mindset shift away from the toxic aspects of productivity, and you'll get step-by-step directions for using the Sunday strategy worksheet. With my Sunday strategy, you only need 15 minutes each Sunday to plan out your entire week. It'll let you identify major projects and tasks that are coming up, assign those projects to specific days, and best of all, there are different sections for each area of your life: professional, personal, and purpose-driven, so you can reach all of your goals. My Sunday strategy worksheet also includes a weekly habit tracker to keep you focused on the habits that you want to develop. So if you want to avoid those Friday feelings of frustration and despair, you need my Sunday strategy worksheet. It's the perfect planning tool to help you build the winning strategy for your week. It's a resource you can come back to each day to keep you focused on reaching your goals, and it's an accountability tool to help you track your progress. Basically, it can help you have the most productive week ever. Like I said, it is completely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter, which also features more strategies and tips to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. To get my Sunday strategy worksheet and guide, go to mysundaystrategy.com and sign up. That's mysundaystrategy.com. There will also be a link in the show notes, but again, mysundaystrategy.com. Look forward to having you back here for the next episode of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast.